that his work is completely unselfish. And, no, that was my impression. And I think he believes himself that it is. Let's hope so.
Or if you don't believe in what you do, you cannot do it for very long. All these people who have visions and charisma for something and all, they really believe in it. Oh yes. Ça c'est Nemo. C'est Nemo ça. But it's so tiring to... Well, maybe they say the same with me or with us. But it's very tiring, I find, to be in front, to face someone you know there is absolutely no little exit where to meet in the mind, in the block of the mind. It's exhausting. I was already so tired after 2 minutes. That was my boredom. It's so tiring. But that's the lack of interest. My lack of interest too. It's very interesting. I even said you are more interesting than me. Absolutely. In the mind, they were so much. They can. But more entertaining, there is more knowledge and so on. But in satsang, context of the satsang, it is so off that that's it. That's okay. And it's very different if somebody comes with that, for example, but there is a demand, then it's very inspiring. But if you come, that's why, you see, the one who sent them, how come? He knows them, he knew they don't want more or something different. Why to send anybody? Why? I will really request, don't send anybody. The one who wants this will find. Yes. How did I find my master? Nobody told me anything, but I just found it. Don't send anybody. And don't tell to anybody, don't send anybody. It's no use so far, it's of absolutely no use. They will come if they need. Something else is stronger than the condition that somebody says, oh, maybe you will be happy, they will find. No, it's not true. Never it happened so far. Maybe there are some exceptions, but I don't know. Or there must be a demand. To just send absolutely no use. But in that way, it's very interesting to see that satsang cannot happen. Cannot happen. It's not in the will of anybody if there is no demand for it. It's impossible. Because I tried. Cannot happen.
You believe in something?
I believe? No, you point out if you find there is a belief somewhere. You believe in you mean in something?
If you believe in something.
No, I don't think so. Humanly, I may just keep natural what? Personal natural instincts or whatever. But I don't know.
I just asked because he said if you do something with all your, then you it's good to believe something.
No, I don't believe. It's not because I believe. How about satsang? I will not say it's because I believe and I want to convert. And, no, I don't think so. It is just, I don't know what happens. Maybe it is an unconscious wish to tell something about this, or it is even not based on that. I have no idea. I will never make it out. But surely the belief that it has to be transmitted in a way, or to convert anybody is not there. Oh yes. Even though, what do you wish the best for people is to be released, but you cannot force it.
Something happened. I mean, I can't say it. Even when you said it can't be transmitted or whatever. But something happened.
Oh, that's good. But maybe because of that, it's happens. I don't know. But it is not a personal awareness or wish or something. Otherwise, I would have to remove that. Somebody has to remove that in me. Cannot. Nothing can be there. You see, even the wish to help others is too much. Of course, I can say I wish sometimes, yeah, of course I have sometimes this, if you ask me, I wish you are help with this guidance, but it is not, it doesn't come from the same place as people, they want to help others. It's not from that place. No, that's too much. Attention avec le bâton. And I don't think I would have known this if my master didn't indicated that to me. Yeah. Because you think it is the best, that you can do it to anybody. It is, I also wish everybody, but that somebody wants to help, it is nearly the best quality in a way, or there is a lot of generosity there, but it's a big influence for freedom.
This question comes to my mind. Are you different in satsang than out of satsang?
You have to ask others, huh? You have to ask the others. She is good. Am I?
Well, it's not the same subject.
You see, in the daily life, in day life, one reacts to things or respond. Maybe it's a better word, but I don't fear to say react. I don't care. One reacts to circumstances. In satsang, I react to the demand, so it touches something else. In that way, indication is different. There is no indication in the life, it's just a reaction. with a good or bad temper you have from birth. And in satsang it's different in that way. But I'm the
To me, you appear more sharp
in satsang.
in satsang than on the beach when somebody approaches you and asks and concerning that subject and asks you something. And
Individually?
it's not the same. Yeah, I find it's
Individually?
not the same.
Because it's a conversation.
Even though
You can speak, you see, you can speak on the subject, but it's a conversation. It can be a conversation. Yes. You said also in satsang on the beach?
yes, somebody wants to speak to you privately, and then I have this.
No, that's no good. It's a conversation. Even though I would surely not say something wrong, but what that is not touched. I cannot help. Some probably it's not like that. With me it's like that. That's why it's satsang.
Oh, it's not always like this.
No.
No, but with us here, we have the, I mean, like in India, you could meet someone on the footpath,
Yeah.
but with us here, we have the chance to speak
But
in
generally,
satsang.
you see the one who want of you who want to have a private talk. It's because it doesn't concern really liberation, because you know that's to be brought in satsang. Generally, it is of some subject, and then I tell also, well, my opinion. It's like that. I am not in that way. I can also make mistake. But do you refer to something?
No, it was just impression. But it was the start of a row, a queue of questions. I also wanted to know if people who are not at all interested in satsang, if they benefit from your presence. When they, for example, live with you for years, but they are not interested in satsang, is there something like benefit?
No idea.
Like Pabaji's wife, for example. Or
Oh
children.
no!
There's nothing like
She
this.
was furious at him up to the end. And some children they missed and some not. No, not necessarily. Otherwise the neighbors, all Alfambra. But you know, one who is benefiting, I find,
Anna.
it's Anna.
And she said the other morning, I wanted to tell you.
Believe she becomes
Yeah,
a real devotee.
She said that when she likes the satsang, she doesn't understand any words, but she noticed that when she's there, it's totally different, and
No,
she's so
it's amazing.
well and
So in that way,
That's quite down.
but then you see, it depends on. Here we have to speak of the heart, of the opening of your heart. What to say?
And people who lived with Pabaji and they didn't realize in their lifetime, how did they benefit from being with
They
him?
will realize after his death, maybe. Anyway, they took the best they could during their lifetime. So if they didn't, what to say, they took the best. And if the luck, the interest continues, he will be there in a way, in some any. I don't want to say some other shape because then you enter into something. But you see, your desire creates the thing. Creates the proper pointer. It's like that. So if one pointer dies and you still have the same fire which made you meet one finger, for example, bigger finger and two masters, if it is still there, something will come of the same help.
And
It has to come.
when the follower dies, I wanted to know when the follower dies. Where is the benefit for the one who died, who can't follow anymore because he died?
So, if you speak of a follower, you can speak of reincarnations and birth. In that way, next will be benefited by next if you speak of a follower. It's the best so far explanation. Or you are very, very nihilist and say, fuck, what to do? Because it's an explanation, you see this reincarnation. It's a genius explanation, but it is an explanation to explain how come this one looks like matured at 16 and the other one is at 80 and this and that. Wow, it's very good explanation. But it is an explanation. So you can also say, well, if it is an explanation, maybe not. But the point is about liberation. So it is about, am I born at all in reality? So reincarnation and all those things, it doesn't count here. So if the follower dies after hearing this, and that is still, what does it mean, or something like that? Who knows, huh? I am not an extra visionary. Maybe you did so many times and you still ask the question.
Somehow I was always a bit there, this question. I came back and disappeared again, and now finally I put it.
But you see, what does it solve? What does
No,
it
it doesn't
solve?
solve anything, but
No.
I had to get rid of it somehow.
Well, it's no respect.
And I, it's the same?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. How to
What-
go further now?
What I can see is, the mind changes minute by minute, the thoughts, everything, or whatever. But the I still remains. So it's
Because
not...
it's the root. It's the root, but still it's mind. You can say the seed. What is a seed? And a tree.
Okay.
The tree
Yeah.
is of the same nature as the seed. But the seed is the root. Enfin, it's the seed. Like that.
So no, yeah, it's I can observe the mind or whatever and see the changings, and maybe sometimes I'm more happy about it than other times, or I have a bit more distance than other times. So there's something possible, let's see, with the thoughts, with the mind. But this the seed, the I never really touched, or I mean.
You see, you cannot touch.
You know, sometimes you
Because
say
you are
go to the
identified.
source. You know what I mean? Sometimes you need to go there or to something.
You see, when you are identified, it's so much your skin that you cannot put a distance. So of course you can't, it looks like you can't pull it out. But that's why there are a few moments where this can be shaken by any means. Could be sometimes intellectually, when you arrive at I, and you see all that. Who sees all that? You cannot say something else than I. But then already to say I is a description, is a step, is a creation of what is here. No?
Yeah. I mean,
And then
I
you want
understand
what
this.
more?
No, what I would like to discover this fucking eye.
You cannot discover more than that. I is a description in itself.
Yeah, okay, but I'm not I, so I mean.
You are not I. Did you see? Or
No. It's a problem. I mean, I
but
heard
then
and
go
I
and
believe
see.
in
No,
a way,
but you have to
but
go
not,
and
not,
see. It's not
yeah.
difficult.
No.
It's not difficult. You speak now. But wait, it's because you have many ideas about something. Wait, you speak, okay? I even heard the subject. Okay. Now, who speaks? You never heard this. Who is speaking?
I speak.
I speak. Okay. So, how do you know it is I?
I guess. I mean, who else could
I don't know the answer to. It's a question after all. How do you know it is I? I told you from yesterday, it's a real disaster. But you say I, and we always hear in Satsang, I remember, that whatever you describe, it cannot be you. It cannot be you. You're sure that?
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
easy
it
to be
sounds in a way, it sounds very logical to me.
It's you see, you see this. Can you be this if you see it?
No.
Okay, you see. Help me, I am so bad with examples. Something in the mind. Tell me something in the mind.
Yeah.
You see,
Not with
you fucking thoughts. Are you the thoughts if you see them?
No.
No, absolutely no. There is no doubt. 100% no or not. It's exactly the same, but of another level.
Exactly. They are.
Okay, if you say I, you throw something, you vomit something, I tell you. Are you that? What you can... Can you do that? It's impossible. 100% impossible to be what you express. No, but 100%.
Yeah.
Okay. Then what more do you want here? You are what is here itself that you cannot throw it out or describe, or throw me something else prior to I, and then we will see.
The movement.
So now you have to be aware of that more, and that this has completely to be demystified.
Some days ago you told me that probably you just said to me that I always forget that I don't have to achieve anything, and this time it really, I don't know, something happened, and then it was I had some good days afterwards.
Mais c'est pas vraiment tcha-tcha.
And you told me, okay, go this direction, go there, or if I express it.
But why you go now to that? This was better.
Yeah,
This
no,
was
but there
still
was
better.
there was this point.
No.
No, why I started all this question is because, of course, I had to lose it anyway. You know, this state.
Okay, doesn't matter. You bring this today. I'm very happy.
Yeah. But the root is actually that where I lost it again.
Yes, now you are. No. Where were you when we finished with the description of time? This is the thing. You prefer your experience to be free than this. This is more important. But it is not an experience. You cannot taste, enjoy an experience. That is the trouble. That's why, lacking of word, we say quiet. Completely quiet. It means you can't enjoy when something is so quiet. And yet, it is worth. This is the trouble. One can't somehow, when the mind is still working, conceive that it is not an experience. Mind knows only experience. You see, and so when you suddenly, we saw a Big Bang, we saw anything, we are just left where you already are. If you want to still listen to the mind, that's all, that's it. You see, it's not, it cannot be only that. But this is the mind which turns a bit mad because he's not happy not to experience anything. Here he cannot enter, he has nothing to say. This is freedom, to be free from the slavery of the mind. So it means to be free from always listening to the mind, whatever it will take. Of course, I know. But you see, it's just a split second of that, completely giving one the opportunity to be completely devoid of grasping any experience and so. And then it's done. If you don't live on the bank, oh, I still want to experience so many things. This is the trouble. And also enlightenment. I want to experience enlightenment, which can be in the range of experiences. Enlightenment is there. I can suddenly feel free.
Do you think this was my mistake, that I'm not aware of this actually. I was quite happy, you know. I mean, it was okay. Yeah, no, that's why I started again, you know. And, yeah. I just tried to find out. I don't know. I don't want to say always the same mistake.
No? Like you speak, it will go like this. If there is anything, this goes like this. I don't know, maybe other ways. I'm not a silent one. I'm not a gazer. I'm not. Oh, it's a
No,
gaze.
this one.
Try to gaze. What do you do?
It's for you. You eat.
Oh, merci. Elle est toute contente ici.
Give to Satya. Give to Satya.
Merci.
Give to Satya. Satya likes it.
Elle mange. Il est tout content. Yeah. So, tell me. If there is a difficulty in this mind, it's because he wants to have a word here. It's like an old husband, and suddenly you tell him, no, I will not listen to you. After 50 years of marriage, and you think the reaction will be, you know, that you have still to listen. So,
It feels more like millions of years actually.
yeah, it's very weird, Rich.
Thank you.
Imagine.
I have to go back, and I do it on purpose to get rid of it, okay? It's what I also saw is that it was, I mean, there was clearly absolutely preference to this feeling what was there, you know, and it went and changed. So the first time I thought, okay, welcome, well gone, but it doesn't work.
It's not very
It's
true.
not very. It's
No, listen, don't mistake. It's not very true. Maybe you are not, as you think now, after again to find that part, but you are the unsatisfaction not yet to finally be quiet is still there, and that's your luck. So don't confuse. Don't confuse. It's because you want bad experience. Maybe not now. It's just that you are frustrated not to realize.
One who is identified does not completely see his identification, is what you just said. Because identification makes that you cannot see what you think you are, let's say, because you're not really the identification. But as you are based and completely identify with certain things, you cannot see these identifications. Now, when it comes to a point, or can it come to a point that one sees his essential identifications, and that this is liberating, or if one keeps quiet at that point? You know what I mean?
But you put it in plural. Is essential.
Yes, or is essential, because I grabbed this seed example, which I found very interesting.
It can be a knowledge also. It's, here everything is possible. Or it's realization, or you make it a knowledge. This is the trick of the mind. Last trick of the mind. Or not. Because you see, when you hear this, do you grasp something, or it's just something enters and that's it? This is the only difference. When you hear, for example, let's take this conversation. You can take it in two ways, no? The usual way, the normal way, is to you grasp what is said, and you love it, and it gives you whatever experience about it. But the first move was to grasp it, or you just allow to be touched, to something enters, you don't know what, where. Doesn't matter. I have no other words. So one is intellectual and the other one.
What? You see me thinking about what?
No. But it's so, this mind is such a bad, misleading, let's say, that even one could grasp to hear this. I just want you to be aware that whatever you bring, if it is a grasping, you have to be aware of that. Even this, you see, I said, what did I say? You can hear by grasping, or you are just touched by it, but this also you can grasp. You can, if you want only the information, you can convey it to somebody else. That's what I mean. Then it can become a teaching. In that way, whatever you grasp, it can be transmitted. You see? Now, the same words, I don't know how and why, but it can happen that it just breaks the habit of grasping. And there you cannot transmit nor teach. You are just, and it could be just realization.
Last day, when I tell you I have a fear. So we have something exchange both together, and suddenly you tell me something, and it's touched me very strong, but I don't remember what you tell me. It's very strange. And now I can't learn someone. It's very,
And do you eat?
No. So, even what you tell me, I don't remember. I know it's something happened, but I don't remember what you said.
It's the same as I tried to say, no? It can be touched somehow. It doesn't. It's so quick. That's why we speak of split second. It is quicker than the mind has no time to grasp it. So there is, you cannot remember. You can say something. When you speak like this, which I can very much recognize, is there anything left which makes you want realization or not? Whatever level it is or whatever. Is there any move which brings that longing?
Any question of something less. I cannot put any word or any subject. You know, it's like if yeah.
The purpose of meeting your master has been fulfilled.
I think so.
I don't like I think
Yeah, yes, I agree. No,
so. No, it's up to you. It's up to you. I don't know. This is not acceptable to sentence. Because you see, I think so will bring I don't think so. Next. Be careful.
One thing back to the bored face at the beginning.
The board?
Bored face.
Ah, yeah.
And the reacting to people who apparently have not much interest. And what I've been looking at over the last few days is there appears to be a place, or whatever you want to call it, where everything is unconditioned, and there everything is possible. And then there is this, apparently this world where, you know, if you've taken this particular road, you're not going to be going down the other ones. And so there's, because I'm looking at them, I'm neither of those two, but they're things that occur. And so I remember once you saying that glimpses happen because they're the natural human whatever. And so then comes the question of what it is to be naturally a human, because you do have the unconditional, there is the unconditional nature of reality, and there's the conditioned nature of appearance. And so if you're dealing with this reality, I remember somewhere, I think it was Nisargadatta said, after liberation, his mind and his senses became his servants, and they did what was appropriate. So, acting in this world that is conditioned, then what it brings to my mind is the question of love. You know, how do you deal with a conditioned world when you know that that reality is unconditioned?
But you see, you don't make that difference.
Well, yeah.
That difference you don't make. Now we speak of this because someone wants to be free, and then in that way one has to cut all the concepts, and it looks like two realities or three or whatever. Actually, once you are freed from what is illusory, there is absolutely no difference. In the living. Now, if you speak, then of course one suddenly puts, as I always say, the mind as this extraordinary magic to, you can face things and you can analyze and observe and whatever, and then you speak of this phenomenal world, which is true. But realization is not based on an experience, let it be unconditioned experience, which makes you always naturally careful or vigilant, not to, not to be lost in this phenomenal world. And it's absolutely indescribable. It doesn't work like this. That's why may seem even to be identified or look like being furious or loving or whatever, but it's not. How to say? It doesn't come from this. And so the love, one can speak of love, of course, unconditional love, but you cannot put, there is somebody here with unconditional love to the phenomena, to the beings. Because this unconditional love can be shown in so many ways. Not like one as the idea of unconditional love, which is to love all the time, everybody, whatever they are, and maybe not like that. And yet, because you see the birth and the death, it's not very loving then to have invented that, and it all comes from the same source, this unconditional love. So we don't know. I don't know if I replied, but I said something.
Yes, you did actually.
You see, I feel people who go, it can be also very natural for their ideal and destiny in this birth. If they go to sainthood, for example, they have this natural tendency, let's say, of loving each other and having no difference between everybody and all. Of course. But you see, it's, how to say, it's nearly a shape, it's nearly a form of loving, which is beautiful. Still a form, it's a way to love, it's an attitude, even to one can be so one with it that you will not say it's an attitude. But you can say, as one says, when there is realization, there is peace, love, joy. You can say those words, even though you may not recognize exactly what the mind understands by it. That's why it is so difficult, because if we keep the slightest image of those great words of truth, let's say knowledge, joy, love, peace, you see, if you keep the slightest image of it, you cannot be freed. This is the trouble. So it is, I'm very cautious not to speak too much of those qualities. But it's the same if your demand is unconditional love or liberation, or in the end, if you are not attached to the image of it, it will lead you to liberation. It's true. But one sometimes is very attached to the ideal.